Welcome, everyone, to Wild Wednesdays with Wild Things and Washoe County Library System. We're so excited that you're here. Our first of a series for this summer. Just a few things. If you are joining us via Zoom, you can put your questions in the chat. If you are joining us on Facebook, go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. We will get to those at the end. If you haven't already signed up for our Tales and Tales summer reading program, please visit washoecountylibrary.us to sign up, or visit your local library with expanded hours next week. So you can get all of that information on our website. You can see all of our virtual events through our website. This will be recorded in our YouTube channel, so you're not going to miss out. Share with your friends. Today we have Gabe from Conservation Ambassadors Wild Things. Gabe, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Sure, I'd love to, Morgan. My name is Gabe, and I am the director of an organization here in Northern California where we take animals that have been injured or animals that people have tried to keep illegally as pets, and we use those animals in our school programs or in our library programs. We're basically a rescue center and outreach program. My favorite part of it is traveling into the school groups or into the libraries with these wonderful creatures and being able to share them. But obviously with COVID, we've had to change things up a little bit. So now we're doing the virtual programs. So that's why we're part of the Tales and Tales summer reading program here for the Washoe County Library.
Sweet. So again, if you have any questions, we're going to answer those at the end. I'd like to thank Friends of Washoe County Library for making this possible for us. Gabe, what do you have in store for us today?
Well, I've got two dynamically different animals for you today. First, I want to pull out a little guy, just as we'll hold him, maybe as people kind of filter into the program, and then we'll end with a kind of a big splash. All right. But let me get fun. Dewey Hopper, our first animal to share with you from the grasslands of Southern Africa. Check him out. All right, Dewey Hopper. Oh, he is muddy. Check him out. Look at this, Morgan.
Oh my goodness.
Is this the coolest creature? His name is Dewey Hopper, and he is an African Pixophalus frog. This is one of the largest frogs on the planet, and this guy lives where life is really, really hard. Where in the wintertime, when there's lots of rain, these guys are out hopping around. They're eating everything they can. The girls are laying eggs, and the eggs are hatching into tadpoles. Life is really good. And then the dry season comes. The rivers and the ponds and the puddles all dry up. He's running out of water. So you know what he does? He digs down into the mud. The mud closes on top of it, and he sits down there for 6 months. 6 months waiting for the next year's rain. He's down there in this little cave, kind of in a mucus bubble, waiting for the next year's rains to come. I absolutely adore this guy. He came to our center. Somebody tried to sneak him into the United States. They got caught. He was taken away and sent to us, and he's been doing programs now for about 6-7 years. So I think he's phenomenal, and he looks cute and sweet. But let me tell you this is a hunter. This guy can eat things the size of his head. For him, it's a small rat or a small bird even he will take. Amazing, amazing animal. He's just kind of the appetizer for our main event. So should I put him back?
Yeah, can I ask one question really quick about absolutely. Him? So the 6 months underground, is it similar to a hibernation, or would you call it a hibernation?
Well, it's actually an estivation, but he's in a torpor, summer torpor. Heart rate slows, respiration slow. He's covered in that mucus, and he just sits there with nothing to do, no books to read, nothing. And I threw that in there for the libraries. He just sits there and he waits, and then the next year's rains come. He feels that moisture, and he starts the whole life cycle all over again. And a lot of amphibians do this. A lot of amphibians escape the summer heat, where other creatures are escaping, wintertime. They're going down into a hibernation to escape the winter. So that's little Dewey.
He's beautiful. Beautiful.
I think so too. Even when he's covered with the mud, that's how he travels. All right.
Question, is he a frog or a toad?
He's a frog. He is a frog. All right. Let's put him back. Okay, Dewey, thank you. All right. So, Morgan, it's not that hot yet here up at Wild Things. It's in the 80s here today. So I thought I'd share one of our amazing animals that doesn't really like the summer, because the rest of the year, it might be too hot to bring him out. He lives where we have an air-conditioned facility for him for the summertime. Some of you might recognize him, and his name is Moses, And Moses, well, I think he's stunningly beautiful, even though he's shedding a lot of fur right now. So let me go get him. Hold on one sec. Come on in here, big guy. What do you think, Morgan?
Whoa.
And you are looking at a reindeer. A reindeer. This is an amazing creature. Look at that rack on this guy. This is his antlers for this year, and every year it's a little bit different. We'll talk about antlers in just a sec. So first thing I want to start with, what is a reindeer? Because some people think reindeer are fake animals, that they're a mythical creature. But this is actually a very real animal that is one of the oldest domesticated animals on the planet. You see, about 13,000 years ago, people in Lapland, up in Northern Europe, near the Arctic Circle, they started to domesticate caribou. The caribou are the wild reindeer, and they started to take the calm ones together, and they kept them in paddocks, and they taught them to pull sleighs, like in the Santa Claus story. And the domesticated caribou took on the name reindeer. And I have to say, when I say reindeer, I'm not talking about rain that falls from the sky. Reins like you steer a horse. Those are the reins. That it's a R-E-I-N. That's how you spell it. And it's these guys are very used to pulling sleighs and things. This is a domesticated animal. He's no longer his wild cousin, the caribou. Now, in the Arctic Circle, they live where there's not a lot to eat. They eat mushroom and lichen and moss. That's their primary diet during the hard times. This is a big animal eating those small, little, tiny plants, and they can survive. To get the lichen and the moss off the rocks, they have these really wide mouths with these great big lips, which make him great at grabbing onto those small plants. They also make him an exceptionally good kisser. He has great eyesight and can actually see UV light. So in the dark Arctic nights, he can actually see warmth of a body, maybe of a polar bear in the area that he has to be aware of. Pretty cool. Now his hair is like a polar bear. Look at this. Right now, look at that. It's crazy. It's just coming out in these big clumps. He's deciding to shed. Look at that. And well, getting ready for the summer. Wow, that is so neat. Each one of these little hair is hollow. It's hollow like a straw, and like a drinking straw. And that adds a little insulation quality to his fur, because he has to stay warm in the harshest of climates. Now, one thing I like to talk about with caribou and with reindeer are the antlers. People don't understand the antler cycle. And all deer, moose down to the little tiny muntjac deer, all of them have antlers. And most of them, it's just on the boys. On the reindeer and caribou, both boys and the girls have antlers in it, but I'll get back to that in just a minute. These guys, they're antlers. They grow out of his head every single year. This is bone underneath this soft velvet. This is bone. It's ticklish. This is bone underneath there, and that is real bone growing out of his skull every single year. So in about a month, they're going to stop growing. This stuff will get very, very itchy. He'll rub it all off, and then comes right around Christmas time, his antlers will fall right off of his head. They're just going to fall off, and he'll look like a cow at that point. He will look like he just never had antlers, and then a new set will grow in. That's bone that grows out of his skull in about 4 or 5 months. Pretty amazing. Like I said, in the reindeer and caribou, both boys and girls have antlers. They're a truly equal opportunity deer species. Now, some people say because the male reindeer lose their antlers sooner in the year, that maybe Santa's reindeer were all girls if they still have their antlers going into December.
Question: Is he a boy or a girl?
He's a boy. He's what's called a bull. Male reindeer are called bulls, female are called cows, and babies are called calves. His foot, I don't know if my fine photographer can show the feet there, but their hooves are very unique. It's a big, wide, splayed hoof. It's almost like a snowshoe for walking on the snow and the ice. Pretty neat. Much different than the hoof of a deer that we have in this area, which is a very small hoof. They're very dainty. This guy needs to walk on snow and ice, and he needs to swim. Those are like his paddles for swimming. Pretty neat. I want to tell you his story, how we ended up with a reindeer. Oh, there's a question first?
That was my question. I apologize for interrupting.
there was a lady in Missouri, the state of Missouri, that decided she was going to have a petting zoo. And in her petting zoo, she wanted to have reindeer. And she got 4 male reindeer. And she tried to keep them. Well, I'm petting them. Woo, he's ticklish. And you know what? This is not a petting zoo animal. It's a big, powerful animal with big antlers. And it didn't work out. And she actually called us and asked if we would provide a home for those animals. And that's when they came to us. And so we have them today. They do a lot of work at Christmas time. During the summer, like right now, honestly, I'm not making this up. They have an air-conditioned area where they go to be nice and cool. Because anything above 80 degrees, it's a little bit warm for them. I think they're fascinating. So the caribou, their wild cousins, migrate. Their migrations are some of the longest and largest migrations on the planet. There's a herd of caribou in Canada called the Porcupine River Herd that has over 500,000 animals in it. 500,000 caribou altogether. And they all walk south to get away from the cold weather. And they all walk back up north to get away from, you know what? Mosquitoes. When the mosquitoes hatch, they say, oh, we can't handle these mosquitoes. And they head back up to where it's really, really cold. I don't like to have a lot of mosquitoes on me either. So I totally understand that. And that migration is about 1,500 miles each direction. So a 3,000-mile round trip migration. That's amazing. It's just like they're walking across countries. It's unbelievable. Well, this guy here, I just thought that we'd get a kick out of sharing him before it got to be too hot in the summer. And I think he's phenomenal. Were there any further questions about him?
No, someone did make a comment about how beautiful he is, and I will concur that he is a very beautiful, majestic animal. This is incredible.
I think so too. I think he is stunning, and he also has a certain kindness to his eyes, doesn't he? I think he's just beautiful. Right now, he's just one big itchy mess. He wants to get all this hair off of him. Look at that. That's just unbelievable. If anybody wants some reindeer hair, send a request to Wild Things, and we'll get it out to you.
Somebody's asking if the antlers always grow down over his face.
That's a great question. I usually talk about that. This one right here is called the digger plate. That one there, and he actually has that one so he can break up snow and ice. It's a very important antler for him. Yes. So the answer is yes. But the antlers never grow the exact same. So each year it's just a little bit different. And in some deer, each year the antlers get bigger. It's not true with caribou and reindeer. With caribou and reindeer, they're kind of an indicator of how healthy the animal is. If they have a nice set of antlers like this, it shows that he has good nutrition and he's a strong animal.
Beautiful.
You know, when they walk, they click, and it's not their hoof hitting the ground. When they walk, a tendon snaps against the bone on their leg. It makes this little sound. And you know why that is?
No.
Because they follow each other some nights when it's completely dark, and they want to be able to hear where each other are. And so they click so that the herd knows where the herd is. Pretty neat. They kind of listen to each other and that clicking sound. So maybe that whole thing about up on the rooftop, click, 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 has to do more with that tendon. Very interesting.
Very.
Oldest domesticated hoofstock.
Do you want to talk about the difference between antlers and horns?
Oh, the difference between antlers and horns. Horns are permanent. And horns that grow out of a cow's skull or a rhino horn or sheep, those are hair. It's a packed together hair that makes that hard bony substance. This is actually bone. Antlers is true bone growth that grows out of a skull every year. And the word antler sounds a little bit like annual, and that's because that's what that stands for. It's an annual shedding of the bone. Pretty cool. I'm fascinated by all of the deer. It's an amazing animal. They have the small muntjacs in Asia up to the huge moose that we have up here in North America. That's 3 or 4 times the size of this animal. The deer, the cervids, that family fascinates me. Well, should we get him back to his air conditioning? Or is there
he's probably, I don't see any more. Oh, where would he be native to was another question that came in.
In your Arctic Circle, the caribou, we have caribou here in North America, up in Canada and Alaska, but there's also caribou way high up in the Arctic Circle in Europe as well, in Norway and Sweden and Finland, also in Siberia, and also in northern China.
Oh, the face. That face. Thanks, Gabe. He is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I'm glad that he got a chance to show himself off for Tails and Tales for the Washoe County Library, and I'm glad you guys got a chance to meet him, and hopefully we look forward to maybe one day bringing him back out to the library in person to meet you guys.
Fantastic. So I don't see any more questions about Moses. Do we have any other surprises up our sleeves?
No. Did you want to no, we didn't. I just
no. That's totally fine. I think the reindeer stole the show anyway. I mean, nothing against the beautiful, beautiful amphibian earlier.
Do you want to see him walk?
Yeah, actually.
Come on. I don't know if you can hear the clicking.
We can.
It's a proud and noble creature.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Gabe, one of our attendees is asking if females are different colors.
You know what? No, the females are not. However, there are caribou and reindeer that are come in all different colors. There are light colored caribou. There are dark, almost black colored caribou. And there are spotted or almost an Appaloosa looking reindeer, bred to be different colors. But this is a fairly typical coloration. And you can see it's kind of a golden brown here now, but underneath it's almost black. So can you guys see that, how it just peels off? Look at that. That's not how I lost my hair. I lost my hair more gradually. He's eating an oak leaf. They like to pick up almost anything. They're grazers. So a member of the deer family from the Arctic Circle. That's Mr. Moses. All right. Well, I better get back to his air conditioning, Morgan.
Gabe, thank you so much for joining us today for Wild Wednesdays. Please visit WashoueCountyLibrary.us for further events. We do have more Wild Wednesdays coming up. I believe the next, I'm not going to guess when the next one is. I apologize for not having that in front of me.
Oh, and I have an exciting animal lined up. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it'll be something that people have not seen before.
So again, sign up for our summer reading program, Tales and Tales. Visit your local libraries. Again, thank you to Friends of Washoe County Library and Conservation Ambassadors Wild Things. You're our favorite. We love to have you year after year. So thanks again for being here.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Take care.